Kirti, I
All
think
right,
we can.
guys. Yeah, so we are ready to go. Good evening. I am Kirti, and I have Swarali with me today. We are your hosts for this session, which is a part of the virtual national conference on the theme Education through the G20 Lens. The conference has been diligently curated by the Policy Advocacy and Research team at sarkarischool.in collaboration with Civil20 Chaupal and the research vertical of Kumuraguru College of Liberal Arts, Coimbatore. It is a privilege to welcome you all to what we are hoping will be an invigorating discussion. I would now like to call upon my team member, Kamna, to present a formal welcome address to our guests, viewers, and to introduce the organization. Kamna, please.
Very good afternoon. So, as Sir David Attenborough has said, education is not a matter of getting facts and stowing them within brains, but that it is in an attitude of mind that you teach children to find out for themselves. So, very good afternoon, one and all present here. I would like to welcome you all to this panel discussion on G20's role in revolutionizing STEM education. I bid a very warm welcome to our mentors, our STEM panel, my fellow teammates, and the viewers. It's my honor to welcome our distinguished speakers for today, Sneha Harsh, Prachi Dawer Gupta, Laxdip Pendharkar, Pragya Vasan, who have taken out valuable time to grace this event with their presence and share their knowledge and experience with us. I welcome you all. Sarkari School.in, under the aegis of We Citizen Foundation, is an initiative that seeks
Well, I think Kamna is having some network issues, so I'll continue on her behalf. Well, SarkariSchool.in, under the aegis of We Citizens Foundation, is an initiative that seeks to bridge the distance between society and government schools in India. There exists today a shadow of stereotype around Sarkari schools and their impact, a poor narrative that overlooks their successes and focuses solely on their inadequacies. SarkariSchool.in aims to shift this narrative by equipping the readers with facts and stories of resounding success and hope. It aspires to begin constructive dialogue between educators, policymakers, Sarkari school students, and teachers, amalgamating all ideas and efforts into feasible solutions towards social change. With a multitude of working projects like Project Guriya, Project Arogya, Project Vedana, Project Kahani Kosh, and Project Sambal beneath its wing, we at Sarkari School aim to uplift government school students by providing all of this. The policy advocacy and research team brings together young policy enthusiasts and budding researchers who aspire to make a difference. Our strategy is to work on policy research pertaining to various topics relevant to education in India, and it aims to serve as a knowledge platform for teachers, bureaucrats, policymakers, and other stakeholders. We are sure that this session will greatly advance that aim. We are looking forward to learning from you all today. I hope this discussion inspires all our viewers to learn, grow, and aspire to change.
Thank you, Kirti and Kamna, for this warm welcome and telling us more about Sarkari School and its journey towards educational equity. Before we proceed further, I would like to call upon Sridhar to tell us a little more about the conference and the topic of this panel.
Thank you, Swarali. So, the globalized world that we live in today reflects the truth inherent in the Indian ethos of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, along with the Sustainable Developmental Goals 2030, which have underpinned the global and national policy discourse since their adoption in 2015 and will continue to dominate the conversation for the coming decade, are based on recognizing the power of international cooperation. One world, one family, one future, as the theme of India's G20 presidency, reiterates the sentiment that local problems can benefit from local global solutions. It is in the spirit of promoting debate, deliberation, and discussion regarding policy challenges that Sarkari School and We Citizens Foundation, in association with Civil20 Chaupal, bring to a virtual national conference on education through a G20 lens. The overarching theme for this year is the role of multilateral and bilateral international collaboration in bringing about education reforms by improving the quality of education, reducing inequality, and understanding the process of multilateral partnerships in impacting reform with a special focus on practices and the experience of G20. The 21st century is often touted as the age of innovations and has witnessed many life transforming advancements. But, much like previous human ages, the Anthropocene has faced multiple challenges, hence, the role of STEM education becomes crucial. STEM, which basically stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which is essential to improve the analytical and practical approach of the students so that it can offer innovative solutions to many problems and have the potential to cause large scale human development. The rise of the STEM is predicted to be transformational. It is predicted that in the next decade, over 75% of jobs would require some form of STEM education. As we are witnessing the rise of AI tools such as the ChatGPT and Notion AI, STEM fields are reaching new heights of innovation. If these new age innovations are applied to education, they have the power to change the lives of millions and uplift many of the poverty. But at the same time, the growing technology needs to be humanized and it needs to be used for peaceful purposes. However, the STEM field has been historically limited to a select few, and the participation of women has been abysmally low. There is a gender gap in STEM as well. It is reported that worldwide only 28% of women are part of the STEM workforce. A lack of access to STEM education also leads to lower employment opportunities, causing further inequality. There are ramifications for the world economy too. As big data and AI set to transform the world, it is crucial to have a trained workforce with the latest advancements in the STEM field. This panel aims to understand the importance of STEM education and how the G20 nations can bring a positive revolution in STEM education in order to leverage its benefit for the greater good of society. STEM education has the power to transform lives, but it needs to benefit all the stakeholders equitably. Come join us in our endeavor to brainstorm, learn, and grow. Now, over to the hosts.
Thank you, Sridhar. Now that we understand the objectives and the themes of the conference in general and the session in particular, without much ado, let us begin the discussion.
Thank you, Kirti. So, for beginning the discussion, our first speaker for today is Sneha Harsh. Sneha is a passionate advocate for inclusive education. She has received numerous accolades for her efforts, including the SM Luthra Award from the Lady Shri Ram College and a Justice Scholarship to do research study at the Fukuoka Women's University in Japan. Her contributions to the high school leadership program earned her a Public Service Award from the Ek Kadam Aur Foundation. With a background from Jharkhand, India, Sneha has seen the challenges faced by the underprivileged community. Through her policy, advocacy, and NGO experiences, she strives to create a more equitable and just work. Sneha is currently pursuing an Ed.M in Learning Design, Innovation, and Technology at the Harvard Graduate School of Education and is committed to using her education to fight human trafficking through education. In addition to her studies, Sneha is a sustainability fellow at Harvard and is working as a grant writer at Boston Public School in Massachusetts. Over to you, Sneha.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon to everyone who is joining from India. And I would like to thank Sridhar, Kriti, and Swarili for such warm welcome. My warm hello and namaste to all participants who are joining from different parts of the world. My name is Sneha Harsh, and I'm current graduate student at Harvard University. I'm pursuing learning design, innovation, and technology. And I'm honored to be here today to speak about the role of the G20 in revolutionizing STEM education. And I'm deeply appreciative to Sarkari School.in and WeCitizen Foundation for providing me this opportunity. It is indeed a great day today. I spent the entire day at Harvard India Conference and I met amazing people and we did discuss about STEM education over there as well. And right now here in Boston, 4 a.m., I'm speaking to you all. Thank you once again for having me. It is no secret that the world is rapidly changing and advancing, and it is more important than ever for our education systems to keep up. The G20 has a unique and crucial role to play in the revolution. Um, in the recent years, the demand for STEM skills has increased dramatically. Jobs in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are becoming more prevalent and essential in our economy. However, our education system are not always producing enough graduates with these skills to meet the demand of the job market. So we are gathered here today to discuss the vital role of the G20 in revolutionizing STEM education. In the face of this global pandemic, the importance of education has never been more pronounced, and the need to invest in our future generation has never been more pressing either. The G20 countries have a crucial responsibility to help create a better future for the world's children. And due to pandemic, just giving one example, that I was responsible for leading the high school leadership program, and my focus was on imparting 21st century skills such as STEM education, leadership, and communication to students in India and Nepal. The aim was not just to cultivate leadership skills, but also to hold entrepreneurship boot camp with the goal of fostering, job creators rather than just job seekers. So STEM education was at the forefront of these efforts. The results were impressive, and I saw significant growth in just 2 years. If one program can bring about such change in the lives of the students from Ladakh, Kathmandu, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal through an online platform, I believe that by leveraging resources from 20 countries, we can make an even greater impact on a global scale. We can turn villages into educational laboratories, creating opportunities and empowering underprivileged communities. However, achieving these goals is not an easy task. We all understand that. We must have well thought out strategies in place and be highly specific about our objectives. Understanding the needs of learners and the skills of educators is paramount. Providing education is not the only solution, it is also important to help students secure employment. With the rapid advancement of technology, there is concern that artificial intelligence, as Sridhar just mentioned, will eventually take over. However, I believe that it is important to keep up with the latest technology and development as technology continues to evolve. This week, I visited MIT Tech Museum, and I was impressed to see how ChatGPT was even helping writing poems and doing multiple activities. So 5 months ago, when I came to Harvard with no prior experience in technology, so I do not have any degree in technology, but I'm determined to learn and explore the world of STEM as an educator, entrepreneur, and learner. I'm excited to continue learning from experts at MIT Media Lab on artificial intelligence for constructive communication. And I feel if I can, you can too start learning today, and it's never be too late because this is a need of an hour, right? And it is essential to stay up to date with the pace of technological development. So let's go back to the G20 and how would these 20 countries can make it work. So by supporting the development of an international finance facility for education, that is IFF Ed, the G20 nations can provide the funding needed to educate the million of children who lack access to education and give them a bit better chance in life. It is a powerful tool that can mobilize billions of dollars of additional funding each year and support the development of innovation and inclusive education systems that you know empower children and young women, young people to achieve their full potential. I would also address the challenge faced by women in STEM. The G20 must play a crucial role in addressing these challenges by promoting entrepreneurial education within STEM curriculum and encouraging women to pursue business startups as a career option. Such measures will contribute to women's economic empowerment and economic growth across the region as well. As we all know, climate change is one of the most pressing issues of our time. And as a sustainability fellow at Harvard, I understand that STEM education has a crucial role to play in addressing this issue. So the G20 can help to revolutionize STEM education by promoting the integration of climate change issues into STEM curriculum and encouraging the development of innovative solutions to these challenges. The G20 must ensure that education is accessible to all and promotes well being, equity, and sustainability. By investing in education and supporting the development of innovative and inclusive education system, the G20 nations can help to ensure that every child has access to quality education and is equipped with the skills and knowledge they need to thrive in a rapidly changing world. Let us work together to create a brighter future for our children and the generations to come. Let us take one step at a time. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Thank you, Sneha. We'll come back to questions later. We have Q&A session reserved for that particular part. But for the time being, I really think that all the listeners must have found your concepts very impressive, especially when you connected sustainability, equability, and inclusion all together. When you say that in form of giving representation to the rural area, in form of giving representation to women, and also talking about sustainability and joining these all together in STEM in G20 was something that I really found enlightening. Now, we'll move further, and as we thank Sneha, we'll now move further, and I would like to call upon Prachi Dawer Gupta. Well, Prachi is a seasoned educator with over 13 years of experience in creating and delivering high quality educational content. Prachi has made significant contributions to STEM education, including implementing the Singaporean bar model method, setting up a mathematics education program based on Freudential pedagogy in Netherlands, and successfully developed maths textbooks for Oxford University Press and Indianica Learning. She's currently serving as a senior content associate at Coding Ninjas, an edtech organization focused on upskilling engineering students and early professionals in the IT domain, and is currently pursuing a degree in educational leadership and management from IIM Kolkata. Prachi, please go ahead. Prachi, can you please unmute yourself?
Sure. Hi. Hi, everybody. I hope I'm audible now. Yeah, great. So, first of all, thank you, Kirti, for your warm welcome. And I congratulate the We Citizen Foundation and Sarkari School team for putting together such a event. You guys have been working since morning on this panel discussion and have been part of most of the panels, and there's been great insights that I could hear about. Um, So coming to STEM won't stretch the introduction, and will straight dive into the STEM education part of it. Now, how did it all start basically? STEM, as we all know, science, technology, education, and mathematics. It was never, what was the point when all of this put together and people started talking about STEM? It's very interesting to note that in US there was a leakage sort of was observed. There was a very common illustration which was being moved around, and people started talking about how people in ninth grade, actually there were 4.6 million students in US which belong to science learning, and by the end of 10 years of graduation there were ultimately about 1,67,000 of them which actually graduated in STEM subjects. So there was this whole discussion about, while in the emerging countries like India, China, there's a huge boom of STEM learning, but whereas in US, Canada, and all these European countries, people are now less interested in STEM. So a lot of initiatives started happening around STEM education. At that point, it was very divided. The disciplines were yet divided. People were not so focused on the STEM learning per se, but enhancing the overall all these subjects, even if for that matter differently. But as the pedagogy involved, as people started maturing towards understanding of pedagogy and the benefit of integrating all four subjects, there was a need and emergence realized that STEM is just not about four different subjects. It's about problem solving, it's about self inquiry, as Sridhar mentioned about critical thinking. At that point, people started realizing that even from an elementary stage to a higher education, how do you put together a sense of problem solving, which is the biggest need and the biggest skill that you will ever need in any job market at any given time. And that's how the integration of STEM actually emerged. And across G20 or across the globe, there's been huge debate or huge discussion around, is that even possible? Can you actually do all of it together? Can you make one single problem and do all the science, technology, engineering in that? So in my opinion, and I understand that you all, primarily the attendees are the young policy enthusiast. So I'll take this, in a short span of time in two different perspectives, which is one is pedagogical and one is policy. So when you take off pedagogical perspective to it, um, yes, it is not very easy. It is difficult, and but it's not impossible. With the right resources, there have been certain success stories in India and across the globe wherein in pockets and in experimental stages a lot of good work has happened. um, just to give an example, in Heritage School Gurgaon, I had seen certain, projects wherein a grade 9 students put together a bicycle on their own. Now, when you create a bicycle on your own, you'll have to think of a multiple resources. How do you do the engineering? How do you do the maths of it? Likewise, there was a classroom in California who were trying to solve a real life based problem, which talked about a bridge had fallen. So now to replace the new bridge, what would you put together? Should it be a cable bridge or an arc bridge? And the whole data had to be revolved around it. The whole engineering had to be done. So it is possible. What does it take? It takes teachers who are equipped to handle such queries. It takes a system which nurtures the time that you can spend on this. And when you're not really covering the subjects but discovering them. So that's the about it. So I'll conclude a certain recommendations that I would put together in terms of policy, as I mentioned, and in pedagogical perspective. So, as pedagogy, I would give a very small message, which is to start small, go big. What it essentially means is that as an individual teacher, you may not be able to do the entire STEM learning, even if you spend months on it for the entire academic year. But what you can definitely do is pick up short projects, pick up small projects, and over the years you will have such numerous projects that you will be able to take up, and your repository to create such content will really grow. uh, at the same time, learn from each other. That's very important. When I started, thankfully there was Google to rely on, and I could do these Netherlands, what is happening there, what is happening in Finnish education, what is happening in Google, sorry, what is happening in Canada or Singapore. And you could put together, there are certain textbooks that you can, so we are not living in stone age. We have information available to us and we should make use of it. And for in terms of what can we do as policy makers, I think the very first thing is to identify the right kind of work which is happening in clusters and put it out there for everybody's use. There are certain very good organization in India like Jodogyan or Eklavya who are doing real work, good work. And likewise in different countries like in Canada, Pearson is doing an extremely good job. So in Japanese, there's a good mathematical education which is in play. And so is in Singapore. So putting together and highlighting, creating cluster groups for actually helping the teachers come to a place where they can discuss ideas. I think that's very important. And thirdly, giving the right kind of, you know, the time and space for people to experiment. I think that is extremely important for everybody to, for a young teacher especially, to be able to kind of put forth and say, okay, I'm going to try something new, and to be able to give her the enough courage to experiment. So I would just like to end my talk with a small quote from Swinton 1860, which still applies, which is, we should help students to, we should move education from not mathematics but a mathematical way of thinking, not natural history but a classic way of thinking, and not natural philosophy but an inductive way of thinking. So with that, I would like to thank you and congratulations once again.
Thank you, Prachi. I must say that everybody must be quite, everybody must have found this quite enlightening. And I would, reiterate what you just said, that covering the subject, not covering the subject, but discovering it, it is something that I think really should be employed in pedagogy. Now, Surali, let's go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I would like to invite our next speaker, Laxdip Pendharkar, to share his view. So Laxdip Pendharkar is a management professional having more than 8 years of experience in developing village level entrepreneurship models in India. He has worked in social impact project management and rural network management and has implicit knowledge in it. He holds an engineering degree and is pursuing masters in social innovation and entrepreneurship from the University of Strathclyde, Glasgow, UK, through Chevening Awards of 2022-23. He's very interested in and talks about social impact, skill development, and women entrepreneurs. He has mentored the youth seeking for their career growth in social innovation and related subjects. His area of interest lies in the entrepreneurial aspects of STEM education. Over to you, Lakshadweep.
So, good afternoon all, and thank you, Sarali, for introducing me. And uh, it's my pleasure and privilege to join this panel for to engage in discussion. So, before starting, I would really like to endorse Sneha's thought on sustainable entrepreneurship. And as Prachi said, that STEM is not just an education; it is a these are problem solving techniques. So, this is very true. So, let us. Today I'm going to speak about how STEM education or what is the importance or need of entrepreneurial education in STEM, and what G20 can, what kind of role G20 can play here. Okay. So before, yeah. So before proceeding, let us try to understand that why generally youth pursue entrepreneurial education. Okay. So what is the objective behind that? So the primary objective is getting employment, obviously, a good job, a good lifestyle. Now, as we know that, and everyone says that, yes, even the economists have predicted that, yes, STEM education, or we can say that technology innovation will be the next
I think there has been some issue from his end with the network. Uh, I would recommend that we go ahead with our next speaker and he can join us as soon as he can reconnect. So, next, I would like to introduce, and it will be my pleasure to call upon Pragya Vasan. Pragya identifies herself as a woman in STEM pursuing Technology Leaders Program at Laksha University. She is dedicated to creating an inclusive and equitable future. She is the founder of GWIST, which is Girls and Women in STEM, an initiative aimed at creating a supportive community for girls and women in STEM in India. It provides mentorship, networking opportunities, and support to empower female participation in STEM careers. With her empathetic and passionate approach, she is committed to making a positive impact in the lives of girls and women in STEM. Over to you, Pragya.
Thank you for the introduction, Kirti. And thank you so much for having me here today. I think it's an honor to be, on this panel with these accomplished individuals. And in my talk today, I would actually take you all through my journey and and how in my journey I discovered the transformation that India's education system was going through, especially in the higher education space. And I will also focus on the STEM education. And of course, you've given it away, the women in STEM part. So I completed my bachelor's in economics from Sri Venkateshwara College, Delhi University. And post my bachelor's, I still just wanted to learn more. I've always been a nerd and I wanted to, study more, explore more. I just did not feel enough after completing one degree. And I'd heard a lot about this new university called Ashoka University that had come up. And they had this flagship program called Young India Fellowship, which was a postgrad diploma in liberal arts. And with like taking a leap of faith, I decided to just go and join it and explore the world. And Ashoka was everything I could ask for and even more than that. I did not receive just like world class faculty infrastructure, but I studied 20 plus subjects in the matter of a year. I built a startup alongside my education. I was receiving mentorship from the top minds of the country. And Ashoka completely transformed me, and I was convinced that this is the future of education in India. Ashoka also instilled in me the passion to create an impact, to actually go out there in the world and build something meaningful. Um, so with all these learnings at Ashoka, I started discovering my professional journey and know what I want to do in life. And 2 years after Ashoka, while I was still working, I got an opportunity to join the founding team of an upcoming university called Plaksha University. So I had heard of Plaksha because I was in Ashoka, and I had heard that it's again trying to build like a world class university with world class faculty and infrastructure, but this time a tech university. So Ashoka's focus was on liberal arts, and now they also focus on sciences. And this particular university, Plaksha, was building a tech university. And of course, like I think everyone has mentioned, everyone knows that how important tech is. And I was convinced that, this is exactly what India needs at the moment. And with absolute complete confidence in the vision of the university that, was building up, I decided to join the team. And when I joined Plaksha's team, slowly, I learned what was actually common between Ashoka and Plaksha. It was that both of them were collective philanthropic initiatives. That basically means that 100 plus, global entrepreneurs, CEOs, and even some corporates came together, pulled in, their money, time, and effort to give back to the society, to give back to the education that helped them reach where they were, and to build these universities that are, at par with global universities or even better. And to take India where it needs to be, to build the universities that are the need of the future. And so these were not run by one CEO or one head, but hundreds of CEOs together. And there were multiple perspectives. And I think that is what made these universities so great. And it wasn't just Ashoka and Plaksha. This was started in India with ISV, followed by Ashoka, followed by Kriya University and Plaksha University. I hope I'm not missing out on any other. And so my experience at Plaksha again was brilliant. I was nurtured by a very, very passionate team that wanted to work in actually creating impact in the world and impactful tech education. And it was felt like building a university from scratch felt like I was building multiple startups together. And while researching more and more on STEM education, because this is what Plaksha was aiming to do, I was convinced, like Sneha also mentioned, I was convinced that I need to upskill in tech. I need to, that is the need of the hour. I want to create impact in the world, and to be able to create impact at a large scale, I felt like if I was equipped with the right tech skills, I can actually do that better. So that was something that I was totally convinced about. And then there was another thing that I discovered while working at Plaksha, something I always knew of, but maybe never, really gave so much attention to. It was the women in STEM, or the lack thereof. According to a UNESCO report, only 35% STEM students globally are women. But in India, the situation is a little better. 43% of STEM students in India are actually women. However, only 14% of them become scientists, engineers, and technologists. And as per a recent Deloitte study, only 4.7% CEOs in India are women. And these are the top, industries, and these are, they build these products that we use on a daily basis. But how can these products be truly inclusive till the time we don't have an equal representation in the workforce? Because as more and more, like more gender representation would actually lead to more and more perspectives. So with these two convincing learnings of wanting to upskill in tech and wanting to do something about the gender gap in STEM, I actually decided to bridge that gender gap by a little step and become a women in STEM myself. So I transitioned as a student to Plaksha University itself, and I joined their Technology Leaders Program, which is a postgrad diploma in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and leadership. I'm currently in the middle of it, and I'm talking from my hostel room. And while so I was convinced that this is something I need to build impactful, inclusive products at scale. And while I joined here, my mission to still work for women in STEM was strong, and I founded JUIS that Kirti mentioned. JUIS basically stands for Girls and Women in STEM. So this is basically an initiative to build a safe space for women to interact, to actually uncover possibilities, support and encourage one another to follow their calling in cutting edge tech careers, without fears and inhibitions, because there's a big leaking pipeline for women, and there's a lack of women role models, and the more women need to support one another to actually bridge that gap. And so, in conclusion, I believe that these G20 nations actually have a very, very critical role to play in the STEM education, particularly in increasing the participation of women in STEM fields. It is not only a matter of equity, but also a matter of innovation. It is when, more and more perspectives are built into the products that we're using on a daily basis, it's when these products will actually be responding and serving better to half of the population of the world. And by collective philanthropic initiatives like Plaksha, Ashoka, Kriya, and ISB, we can actually provide a platform to individuals and especially women students like me, who can upskill and contribute to the growth of their country as well as the world. Because let us we need to work towards a world where women in STEM is not a minority, but actually a representation of equal opportunity and growth. And I'm very happy to meet individuals like you who are already working on this. And thank you so much again for having me.
Thank you, Pragya, for infusing these valuable perspectives to this discussion. And well, seems like Lakshadep is back to connect with us. So, Lakshadep, coming back to you, can you please pick up where we left?
Yeah, sorry, I think
Yeah,
some internet connection from my
yeah,
side.
yeah, it's okay. Please go
Uh,
ahead.
yeah, so I was speaking that why youth want to pursue STEM education. This is mainly because of employment. Okay, so but let us think in another way. So is it what the STEM youth want? Just employment, or there are aspirants who want to pursue career in some different aspect as well, like are there aspirants who want to pursue career in entrepreneurship and who want to create job, who want to create employment? So to answer this, recently Amway had conducted a research. They want to understand what is youth's thought on or entrepreneurship. Okay, so their finding is they found that 71% of aspirants are not able to start their entrepreneurial journey just because they have fear of failure. And if you focus on women, then this percentage is going to 91%, so it is quite high. And when try to understand the fear, okay, so most of the youth say that they don't know anything, they don't know how to start it, and they say that they thought that they will never succeed. Okay, and 70 another finding is 73% of youth said that yes, by giving proper education they may become a successful entrepreneur. And this is very basic thing. If let us relate with our academic. Now suppose if you are told to give exam of a subject which is never taught to you, so there is high chances that you will going to fail in that subject. Similar case with entrepreneurship. If now our education system, if we speak about the STEM education system, not just Indian context, but even if you see the global context, then this entire STEM education system is developed in a way that it is more focused on how to get job. Okay, and now we have to slowly move towards how to create good entrepreneurs. Means yes, talent is there, and that talent need to be used to create innovative ventures, and which will lead further to create employment and jobs. Now speaking about G20 role, so what kind of role G20 can play here? So it can be done in so G20 now, as India is leading it, India has the presidency of it, and in India we have started focusing on entrepreneurship as well. Okay, so this concern can be strategically solved in two parts, two phases. Phase one, domestic entrepreneurial incubation ecosystem focused on the STEM youth. Okay, so the STEM youth will get understanding what is entrepreneurship, what is entrepreneurial mindset. It's start with mindset itself. If you don't know how to think like entrepreneur, you cannot become an entrepreneur. Okay, so G20 can strategize such domestic incubation model centers, or some policies where the STEM youth will understand entrepreneurship, its concept, how to start it, how to grow it, what is the networking, how to get connected with relevant people. Okay, what is collaboration, how to collaborate for ideation, and yeah, so entire the startup ecosystem. So this is phase one. In phase two, now G20 can create a global platform for such trained entrepreneurs, such a platform where these entrepreneurs can collaborate with each other, try to understand each other's concerns, each other's problems, try to understand where are the opportunities, how can we leverage the opportunities, how can we find right people, how can we find right investors, right partners. Okay, and yeah, so such a global platform G20 can strategize. So these are the two phases. The phase one, um bring policies to develop entrepreneurship incubation system at domestic level, and stage two, create a global platform where such STEM aspirants can connect with each other and find the opportunities. So there are opportunities. Okay, we just have to find them. That's it. So that's it from my side.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Lakshadweep. Your ideas on incubating an entrepreneurial ecosystem through G20 is quite a thought provoking idea. Now, I would like to thank you for all of that. And now we'd move ahead for the Q&A session. So, opening the floor for it, my first question is for Sneha. Well, you see that artificial intelligence is quite a voguish discourse, with the AIs like ChatGPT penetrating people's awareness on on a day-to-day basis. Now, the question is basically that can artificial intelligence be leveraged to personalize learning, and is it somehow capable of elevating the intersectional shortcomings, like, say, for instance, a woman in STEM coming from a developing nation or a state which does not have an influence, which has not been coming from a state which does not have an exposure to STEM. So, do you think that AI could somehow help elevate these issues?
First of all, thank you so much for this question. And this is what I have been experimenting here in Harvard Innovation Lab. So I think definitely, and we have been like thinking AI can take over the jobs, but I feel it is actually adding to it. For example, um, let's take the example of Jharkhand, where education is not accessible to a lot of population. So I personally believe that where people who are already trained can take the lead. So, for example, I was having this idea of having a rural incubator, and where we can use the local folks to create any product, and how AI can help us. AI can help us in market research. AI can help us in creating the content and actually bring their product in e-commerce. So actually AI is helping us, but we need people like us who are already trained, who are experts in tech, who can help and to, you know, to move that mission. It's not that AI can directly help rural population, but we still need people like us who can take the help of AI to push it forward in a fast way.
Yes, Neha. That's like a very different and insightful answer. Moving forward, our next question is for Prachi Dawer Gupta. So, as you talked and as an educator yourself, you know that traditional methods of teaching for applied subjects, especially like STEM subjects, creates a skill gap, and like such STEM graduates cannot be easily absorbed in the industry. So, the question is, along with the models that you have implemented, what other parameters do you follow while curating a high quality curriculum?
Sure, Swarali. I think that's a very relevant question in every kind of teaching pedagogy that happens across. So I'll give you certain examples right now. Here at Coding Ninjas, we develop curriculum for industries, like, for you to be ready for industries, basically in tech, in IT especially. So the large problem that we feel is that even though engineering colleges are mushrooming all across the country, and there are thousands of lakhs of students which are graduating every year, but industries do face this lack of right talent pool. And how do we basically solve this? So I think we need to come out of this traditional pedagogical perspectives, in which we start off with giving definitions and examples of the concepts that we want to cover, and we just go by, okay, now you do practice till the end of the day, and probably you'll crack some interviews and you'll get to the jobs that you are supposed to do. I think we need to build in the real world engagement. For example, if you're learning web development or if you're learning coding, so why don't you start with creating certain programs actually, and why don't you start building certain websites and see where it goes? So solving certain real life applications is the right way and a right approach. It might take a little time for us to evolve this kind of pedagogy, but I think with the advancement of the resource pool that we have, it's very much possible. And I myself see that the students who are actively involved into kind of solving the real problems, they are actually the ones who basically do get very good opportunities, be it in the Facebook, Google, Microsoft. And it's really fascinating to know, when you have the right kind of aptitude towards learning and you have the right sort of mentoring that happens, it is really possible. And coming to the school education aspects of it, as I mentioned earlier, you don't have to do the entire overhaul of curriculum. Start very small, pick up one concept at a time, building a group of teachers and see where it goes. Experiment next year with another concept, and gradually you'll be able to build up a great pool of non-traditional and a very experimental and experiential pedagogy. I hope that answers your question.
Well, that's a very innovating answer, to be honest, Prachi. Now, Lakshadweep, I'm coming to you next. So, rural Indian students confront different challenges than urban STEM students do, which is leading to a loss of untapped potential in India. What different approaches and methods must be adopted to ignite curiosity for STEM students in rural India, especially amongst girls?
Yeah, so in rural areas, the biggest challenge is accessibility. So the urban students are easily accessible, and if we speak about the rural student, they don't have that much of connect with the, I can say, the urban world. Okay, so I think education technology platform can play a vital role here. Just give you an example. Suppose now let us take the uh, entrepreneur education example itself. So now we want to deliver some thoughts to the rural people. So EdTech can play a good role. So connect everyone, mostly the rural youth on EdTech platform, and the content can be delivered. And this is the way we can transfer the information to them. So I think this is the best way I can just see. I hope I have
Yeah, yeah,
answered all
yeah.
this.
Yeah. Thank you, Lakshadweep, for that interesting answer. Now we'll move to our last question of the panel, and we would love to know your thoughts on this, Pragya. So the question is: the gender gap in STEM education is blatantly evident, especially due to lack of quality education. Thus, solving such core technical education related problems will require the collaborative efforts of government bodies as well as corporate entities. So, what do you think of the intervention of private institutions in promoting of the STEM education, especially of women?
Okay. So I think first is I would say my own journey, because both Ashoka and Plaksha were private universities, which were non-profit. But these universities were actually, able to do what they were able to do because a lot of private companies have also, given their CSR budgets to these universities to help build state-of-the-art facilities, research labs. They provide scholarships. A lot of women in STEM scholarships in Plaksha are supported by a lot of corporate organizations. you know then of course providing of internships, providing mentorship. So these are some obvious things that the private institutions can actually do. They can tie up with universities at different level and ensure that they're supporting students, and with maybe a focus on more women in STEM students. And one great example of that could be AstraZeneca and Oxford. It was because AstraZeneca also supported Oxford, and they together built a vaccine for coronavirus. And because I feel that when private institutions actually, the partnership between academia and the corporates out there together can really change the world. So I think it's very important. And definitely I think the focus needs to be a little more on women now. Women need more women in the system, and we need more women role models. So if there are women leaders in different private institutions, they should definitely come up, talk to these girl students, help stop that leaking pipeline. And I think that is definitely the future.
Thank you, Pragya. That was a rather personally felt yet informative perspective, which sheds lights on private institutions and a lot about them. So now I would like to call upon Pankaj Rawat to present a vote of thanks to all of you and express gratitude.
Yeah,
Pankaj,
thanks,
please.
Kirti. Yeah, thanks, Kirti. Hello, everyone. My name is Pankaj Singh Rawat. Firstly, it is lovely hearing you all, and I'm really enjoying this session. And I would like to express my immense pleasure to present a vote of thanks on the behalf of We Citizen Foundation from Sarkari School. I would also like to express to all our speakers, dedicated speakers, curious audience, and our lovely organizing team to make this session so engaging and fruitful. I really appreciate that. I also want to appreciate our speaker who have make this session so engaging and fruitful. And I also appreciate their suggestive reform on the STEM education. And I think that these kind of conferences will not only help us to connect us as a people, but I think it also connect us as a community, that play a very vital role in influencing the public policies. And I think that Sarkari School is heading towards that direction. And yeah, at the end, I would say that looking forward from hearing you again, and would love to collaborate with you for our future endeavor. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Before going, I would like everyone for their feedback on this panel session. All the guests, please.
Yeah, so uh, I think we should frequently conduct such conferences. It gives opportunity to share our knowledge, our thought process with each other, and also gives opportunity to learn from each other. Okay, so that's it. That's it.
Well, thank you so much for having us here. And definitely, I agree. We need more people to come together and, work together and talk more about the issues at hand. And it's definitely a great place for people who are, who think and who believe in the same mission to, come together, meet each other, and together maybe do more wonderful things. So thank you for organizing this.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank for organizing this for sure, but I feel there is so much to learn from each other. Each one of us is doing so much in their life, and I think we need such platform to just discuss and share our learning and share our work because not everybody can do everything. So it's the time to collaborate. It's time to learn and unlearn a lot of things from different parts of the world. So thank you once again.
Yeah, I would like to also mention the same what my other co-panelists have said. It has been really wonderful, being on part of this panel and listening more than, speaking myself, listening to these incredible conversations through the morning until now. So it was great having myself here, and congratulations, and wish that you would be able to create such more events in future. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for conducting this session to everyone, Kirti, Swarali, and entire Sarkari school team. That's it.
Thank you, each one of you. I guess now you may just get back to your work and keep on bringing upon the change in the world. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Best wishes to you all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
same. Good luck.
Thank you.